Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Molly and I'm a brand new mommy as of 4 weeks ago. I'm so excited to be back and to be sharing my birth story slash birth vlog with you guys today. Honestly, I had such a great labor and delivery experience and postpartum experience. Honestly, I can make a whole separate video about postpartum if you're interested in that. I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys today and to be back. I gave myself about 4 weeks to kind of just get myself into a routine, get used to mom life, which obviously I'm not like totally used to yet, but we're getting there. And we're kind of getting into a little bit of a routine, and I'm excited to be sharing with you guys again. So I kind of have like a hodgepodge of like vlog clips from the day of our labor and delivery. I do have the footage of like him being born and all of that kind of stuff, so that will be in here, but I'm kind of going to do a mixture of me telling the birth story and inserting those like day of clips, just because it's a little bit all over the place and I feel like would be hard to follow. I was induced at 39 weeks because I had polyhydramnios, which is increased amniotic fluid. I had a lot of fluid. At 36 weeks, I was measuring at 42 weeks. Yeah, my bump was really big and it was really hard for me to breathe. And it was a little uncomfortable, but honestly I wasn't miserable or anything. I was okay, but my doctor was a little concerned with the increasing fluid, so we decided to go ahead and get him out. She kind of wanted to do it at 38 weeks, but I waited till 39, and I tried to get him to come on his own, which is the last video I posted, but that just was not happening, and ended up when I went into the hospital and they checked me, I was fully closed, not dilated at all. We were supposed to go in on a Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and then they ended up calling a few hours before that to say that they were too full and to call in the morning and see if they could take us, which was really frustrating. I cried a bunch. I was really hormonal, and it's like, you know, when you just have your heart set on one thing and then it doesn't end up happening, that's really difficult, at least for me. And I had fully prepped everything. I had washed our sheets and remade the bed that day so that it would be clean when we would come home. I had deep cleaned all the bathrooms, everything. And then it was like ready for us to go. And then we obviously stayed. And so I was like so annoyed that we were sleeping in the bed, we were using the bathrooms, which obviously they're still clean, but I wanted them to be like fully fresh for when we came home, but it's fine. So they told us to call at I think 6 the next morning. So my husband got up, called, and they said, yes, we are ready for you, come in at 7. So we got up, we got ready, we got in the car, loaded up. As we put up the garage door, they called and said, we're too full, you can't come in, we'll call you and let you know. So again, I was just like, this is so frustrating. We ended up calling a little bit around like 10, and they said, yep, just come on in. And I was like, if my phone rings, I'm not answering. Like, we are going, I can't keep doing this. Last belly shot. Yours too. It's so big. So we arrived at the hospital. We got checked in probably around 11ish. 11:30 maybe. I got my IV started. She checked me, and like I said, I was fully closed, not effaced at all, not dilated. Basically was starting at ground zero. So they decided to go ahead and start me on a cytotec, and that I got the first dose of that at 11:50. So that is fully when my induction started. Cytotec, by the way, I feel like it's a very common induction medication. So if you are going to be induced, you will probably have cytotec. And it is a little tiny pill that they insert. And I was under the impression that it was just going to be like inserted and just kind of like sitting in there. But no, they push it into your cervix, which I was not expecting and was pretty painful for me, to be honest. Like I said, I was fully closed, not softened or dilated at all, so maybe it'll be better if you're dilated. I feel like most people go in and they're dilated at least to like a 1 or something, So if you are, it's probably less painful because she was pushing past a fully closed cervix. And I felt like she was just pushing so hard. I also was expecting it to take like 20 seconds and it probably took around 5 minutes. So yeah, that was rough. Then I had to lay there on my side for 2 hours to make sure that it didn't dislodge or come out of place. So I did that and I didn't really feel anything. She said I might feel like some cramps or something. I didn't. We laid there, we watched some Netflix. About to watch a movie. Here's the dad. We are prepared to be here for a long, long time. It's 12:15. Okay, we started the first dose of Cytotec. What are you doing? So I have to lay here for 2 hours. So we're gonna watch a movie and that's it.
Wait.
If I look disgusting. I also wasn't dilated at all, so we have a long way to go. He found the light switch. So I ended up getting another dose of Cytotec about probably like 4 hours later, and at that point I was dilated 1/2 centimeter. So didn't make a ton of progress, but you know, I had started at ground zero, so I guess it was some progress. Some progress is better than none. Basically, I went all day, not a lot of changes. I think I had 2 doses of the Cytotec. After the second dose, I started feeling like a little bit of cramps. For me, it just felt like really light, mild period cramps. Wasn't really much. And then my doctor around 6 p.m. suggested that we do a Foley balloon, which my sister had the Foley balloon, so I already knew about it, and it was literally the one thing that I said going into labor and delivery that I did not want. And here we were, which my doctor said that it was totally up to me, and if I didn't want to do it, I didn't have to. But she said that I really wasn't progressing a lot, and if I didn't do it, then I probably still wouldn't make much progress. Especially since I had so much fluid, my baby couldn't get into the right position to like put pressure on my cervix to make me dilate. Basically what the Foley balloon is, if you don't know, is they take a little catheter, it's like a silicone catheter that they thread up through your uterus, and then they inflate a balloon once it's in there, and it puts pressure on the bottom of your cervix, since my baby's head couldn't do that, and it makes you dilate a lot faster. This was by far the worst part of the labor and delivery experience for me. I feel like I could push my baby out 5 times, 100 times before I would want to do that again. It was really rough for me. I don't want to scare you if you have to have that. It was really painful, but to kind of put you at ease, the worst part was the insertion, and then after it's inserted, you can't really tell it's there, so it's fine. You just have to get through the insertion process. Unfortunately for me, I had to have it done twice because the first one, I don't know, it like malfunctioned. I don't know. I was kind of out of it at this point. I was squeezing my husband's hand and just like in a lot of pain. So they got a second one, redid it, and that one was successful. I would say the whole process took around 20 minutes. It was a very rough 20 minutes, but that 20 minutes was the worst part of my whole labor and delivery experience. So 20 minutes versus like, you know, a really bad experience overall, like I'll take it. It was fine. After that, I really started progressing a lot more quickly. I started feeling pretty painful contractions. My mom and my sister came up and they brought us dinner, and at that point I was having painful enough contractions that I couldn't eat. So that's how quickly I started progressing, because before that I felt absolutely nothing besides like those mild cramps, but like I was feeling that before I even went to the hospital, so you know. So after I started having the really painful contractions, I was starting to think about, you know, some sort of pain control, and my mom asked my nurse just casually, she was like, when, like at what point can she have the epidural? And my nurse was like, oh, she can have it at any time she wants. And I was like, what? That would have been fantastic to know. before I got the Foley balloon placed. That was a little annoying, but you know, that's fine. Now I know for the future, if I ever have to do that again, we're gonna request the epidural first, but it's okay. I'm glad I made it to that point and I got to feel like what contractions were like and everything. So once she said that, I was like, I would like the epidural, please. So at that point I was really having to breathe through my contractions, not really able to talk through them. They were extremely painful, extremely close together. So the nurse anesthetist, that's like so hard to say, basically a nurse practitioner that practices anesthesiology, she came to do my epidural at 8 p.m. They had me stand up so that I could scooch over to the side of the bed. At that point, the Foley balloon fell out, which means I was dilated to at least 4 centimeters. I could have been at that for a little while, but I was sitting in bed, so I didn't know. So it was nice to have that out. So the nurse anesthetist started to place my epidural, and everyone tells you you don't feel anything, and I could feel everything. I felt the whole needle going into my back. It was really sharp, and I kept saying like, I can feel that, I feel everything. And they were like, yeah, it's a lot of pressure. And I was like, no, I feel the needle, it's not pressure. And so she numbed me again, and she was having a really hard time placing it. She was working on it for probably around 10 to 20 minutes. I'm not totally sure. A lot of it's a blur now. I do have scoliosis, so my spine is curved, and I think that's like what was giving her trouble. So she ended up calling the anesthesiologist, and they tried to like talk through it, and he was like, okay, let me just come up. So he came up, he came in the room, and right away I could just tell that like he was so confident, and like I just had a better feeling about him as soon as he came in the room. He came over and he took out the one that she did. He renumbed me, and when he was doing it, I didn't feel anything. So that's how it's supposed to be. And I did feel a little bit of like pressure, like I could tell things were happening, but I didn't feel any pain, which is what I was expecting the whole time. And he had it placed in less than 30 seconds. So he was great. They were both great. She was really nice. After I got the epidural placed, the pain relief was like immediate, and it was incredible. I 10 out of 10 recommend the epidural if you are interested in that. I loved it. I would do it again 100 times. Even if it was like painful how it was the first time, I would still get it. Like, it was so nice to go from really excruciating pain to just like being able to relax. And yeah, so then I got my Foley placed, which is a urinary catheter. Already had the epidural, so I didn't feel anything. And then my doctor came in and broke my water, and because I did have so much fluid, it was a lot of fluid, and it kept draining pretty much all night. Everything was looking up at this point. Later, my catheter ended up coming out, so I had to get that again. So if you're seeing a theme here, I had to get pretty much everything twice. I had to get my IV twice. I had to get the Foley balloon twice. I had to get my epidural twice. I had to get the catheter twice. Yeah, but it was fine. So after that, they started Pitocin, and contractions really started to pick up, and my nurse brought in the peanut ball, and we did all sorts of positions, and we pretty much did that all throughout the night. Every 30 minutes she would come in and put me in a different position, and I was progressing steadily. Pretty much every time she checked me, I had dilated to another centimeter. And then, so we basically did that all night. I didn't really sleep at all. Probably around like 6 a.m. they checked again, and I think I was like at an 8.5 to 9-ish. Like, I was really close at that point. And then probably around like 8:30 a.m. they said that I was at like a 9.5, basically a 10. And they said once I started like feeling the urge to push, that we would push. But the weird thing is I never ever felt the urge to push. My doctor had to just kind of like tell me. And I had to push like kind of tilted on my side, because I have a lot of blood pressure issues, and my blood pressure just was tanking every time I was on my back. I pushed for probably about 30 minutes, and my baby boy was here.
It's filled in. You tell? So breathe in and blow it out.
Really good job.
3, 4. Come on,
Good job,
do
Molly.
it.
Little
You got one more in you?
One
Yeah.
more.
Do it.
You can do it. Come on. And push hard, hard, hard.
Yes. That's
Yes.
it, girlfriends.
Yes.
Oh, there it goes, head. Now breathe. Just breathe. Let me check for a cord. No. Just breathe. He's coming.
He's coming. Okay, can I push?
Nope. He's
Okay.
coming. Your body's pushing it Hi, Sawyer. Looking around.
Yes. What is happening? What is happening?
Yeah, he's
Great.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's so hard being
You got him in the next best place.
It was amazing. Best experience ever. We just love him so much and I would do it a million times over. It's true what they say that afterwards you just kind of like forget all the pain and difficulty because there's just nothing like having your baby placed on you and just like meeting your child for the first time. And it was such a weird experience, like, whoa, like this was in me. I feel like even while I was in labor and even pushing, like I just was never like fully convinced that something was actually gonna come out of me. Like it's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's amazing. And we have just loved every second of the last month. He's amazing. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so happy to finally be sharing this with you. If you have any questions about the experience or anything in general, you can go ahead and leave them below and I'll definitely answer them. You should also let me know if there's any certain videos you're wanting to see from me coming up, because I do have a lot of ideas, but if there's anything you want to see, I would love to know. So anyways, thank you guys for watching and I will see you very soon. Bye guys!